The where loose change makes something of itself deal. Because only at McDonald's can a stop at the toll booth turn into an impromptu breakfast stop.
Welcome to McDonald's. Can I take your order?
It's hard to beat any size McCafe iced coffee for 99 cents until 11 a.m. But pairing it with the new Cheese Danish is a good way to try. Price and participation may vary, cannot be combined with any other offer.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Direct-to-Video Connoisseur Podcast. I am Matt, and as always, I'm joined by Jamie. Jamie, how are you this evening?
Better than I was. And I'm sure anyone listening can probably still hear it in my voice. I have sort of like a Demi Moore scratchiness going on there. That's not for effect.
Yes, you have a bit of a cold. Yeah, I noticed it. I think some of your statuses on Facebook, they get enough interest between like likes and comments that they, whenever a status or a post gets enough action on Facebook, it gets sent to the people get emailed about it because it's big news. So your sick one made it on there. So that was, I got an email.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
I'm sick and it's trending.
It's trending. It's trending on Facebook. So I got an email, among my friends, among my the people that I'm friends with on Facebook. So yeah, that's how I found out that you were ill. I saw the email there.
Really? So you missed the blimp that flew over and told everyone?
I did. Yes, I did. I was. Yes, I missed out. I didn't go to the ball game and see the sign that said "Save Jamie." Yes. Oh,
it is nice. I do have a lot of wonderful Facebook friends who, it always makes me feel better. Like if I post like, oh, feeling crappy or whatever, then people are so nice with their well wishes and all of that, and it does lift my spirits.
Yeah, it's always not a bad deal when you get that. I'm like the opposite. I'm like, I'm like that. I don't know how to explain it. I'm that sick person I'm not necessarily a grump about it, but I'm that one that that whenever you watch like the movies and the person's really sick and like the doctors have to like confine them to their room and get them to not go out and do stuff. I'm that sick person. I don't like to be sick. I'm always like out and about doing things, which is I have to kind of rein myself in too, because it's not fair to everybody else out there that I'm out there trying to muscle through
and
sickness.
it slows down the healing process.
It does.
If you don't let your body rest. But I know that guy. You're that guy. You're the one who denies that he's sick.
Right. Yes, I do.
I'm not sick. There's nothing wrong with me. Meanwhile, you're coughing up blood.
Yes.
And you've got a lung hanging out, and you're like, "There's nothing wrong with me."
Yes. Oh, I have to confess, when I was doing my TEFL course, teaching English as a foreign language, it was a 4-week course, intensive course, and you couldn't afford to miss a day, because if you missed a day, they wouldn't give you the certification, and you'd have to come back and make up a day. And so I was commuting to Boston for this, and there's a huge flu epidemic. I believe Mayor Menino at that time, he was still with us then and still the mayor. I believe he actually made a state of emergency or something because it was so bad. And of course, I caught it. I caught the flu. I realized it probably Thursday night, so I went in on that Friday, did my best to make myself not look sick or seem sick, and then went home that weekend, spent the weekend in bed, with a fever of like 101, something like that. Got myself right to the brink where I was good enough so that I could go in, but I had a horrible cough because of that. I think rushing myself back after only a weekend, the whole time I ended up having this really obnoxious cough where, the instructors would try to talk to us and I just kind of let it. I'm not going to do the cough because it's so loud and obnoxious, but I tried my best not to. I was like, giving myself tea and cough drops. So yeah, but I was that guy. I was that guy on the subway with the flu, giving it to other people on Friday, the Friday before the weekend. So I apologize to everybody in Boston that I may have gotten sick on that day for being that guy.
I'm sure they forgive you.
Yeah, I actually know who I caught it from. It was another guy in our class who he missed out on the first day of our practice teaching because he had the flu. And I remember his partner, I saw her on the subway going in. She's like, "Yeah, that just seems a little suspicious. Suddenly he's got the flu and he's got to teach with me today, And but turned out I found out the truth that he actually did have the flu because he gave it to me when we rode the subway home the day before. So.
Well, see, then you could corroborate his story.
Yes, well, I couldn't know because remember I was lying about not having the flu.
Oh, that's right.
I was Mr. Not Sick guy, so. Yeah,
that's right. Oh, well, what we weave.
Yes.
You couldn't even back him up.
Couldn't know.
He's like, I did have the flu. Don't you remember? You got it too. No, I didn't.
I didn't. I don't know anything about the flu. I was just staying home watching 80s movies that weekend. Tough turf.
Sadly, if I'm sick, that means Brian is sick, and so he and his efforts to take care of me ended up catching it too. So, he's, bless his heart, was moaning the whole time we were watching the movie. Although I'm not sure if that was the movie or if that was him just not feeling well.
Let's get into that then. So Brian's giving the sad face, and we don't know again because it's just the chat. It's ambiguous. Was it the movie or was it the illness? What did you think of Top of the World, the 1996 direct-to-video classic starring Peter Weller?
Well, I am fresh off of it and still trying to find out what this guy had on all of these people to make them be in this movie.
No.
From the moment that it started with that god-awful song.
The song's bad, yeah.
Oh, my God, that song is terrible.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell? And then I'm like, I just didn't have a feeling when I was watching it. And like right away, as soon as the song hit, I'm like, this isn't a good sign. This is not a good sign. And the thing is, I feel like it had a decent cast. It had a fun cast, like people that I typically enjoy seeing. Of course, there's Dennis Hopper and Joey Pants and Peter Weller in the lead. And, Peter Weller hanging off of a helicopter at one point. Peter Weller riding the top of an armored truck at one point. I mean, Peter Weller and Tia Carrera and Dennis Hopper extended over the Hoover Dam at one point. I mean, these are things that all should add up to excitement. But instead, what it felt like was that no one, and also David Allen Greer, so I missed him, but what it felt like was that, and there's somebody else.
Martin Cove, Joey Pants.
Martin Cove, and fucking Peter Coyote.
Peter Coyote.
And somehow though, it felt like not one of them gave a good goddamn about anything they were doing in this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm used to Peter Weller not having a whole lot of personality because he just doesn't. All of his delivery is always deadpan. That's just the way he is. I think that's just the way he is in person. As a matter of fact, I asked Brian, I'm like, is that how he really is, or is it just all of his roles, he just delivers them that way? And he's like, no, I've heard him in interviews. I think that's just the way he is.
Yeah.
But so I'm used to that. But I swear no one else gave a shit.
No.
And there's so much of the dialogue was recorded ADR.
Yeah.
And there were several times when I'm like, well, who said that? Because it was supposed to be Martin Cove, but his mouth wasn't moving, so I don't know who. I mean, that was his voice, but he didn't say it.
Which makes you wonder, did he have that line? Did you catch the line at the end where he says to Dennis Hopper, if the money's there, I'm going to kiss you between the cheeks?
Yes.
Yeah, so we don't know if he actually said that or if that was added after the fact.
Right after that.
Right.
It's funny because during that exact same scene is the line that I was referring to when I said that was when he said, you made me shoot the engine.
Yeah.
And then a couple minutes later, he's like, see, I told you we were going to crash. But you're looking right at Martin Cove.
Yeah.
And he said, well, all three of them are on the screen, and you're looking, or four of them, you're looking right at his face.
Yeah.
His mouth is not moving. But he says, see, I told you we were going to crash. And I'm like, he didn't say that.
Yeah.
But, like, the majority of the film sounded like it was recorded after the fact. And there was even a scene where Tia Carrera is on the phone at a phone booth with Peter Weller, and not Peter Weller. She's on the phone with Dennis Hopper, and she's at a phone booth. She's talking, but oh wait, was it a phone booth? Oh, I don't know. Anyway, though she's talking, you can't hear her, and the I'm like, were we supposed to hear that? Was that an important part of the conversation? but you hear the traffic noise in the background.
Right.
They go to investigate a suicide, which was supposed to be a suicide. David
Right.
Alan Greer is investigating this suicide in the hotel, and he's walking around the room talking to Joey Pants,
Right.
and clearly neither of them said any of that at that time, or if they did, they said it, and I guess, I don't know if the audio was just so bad that they had to re-record everything and dub it all over, I don't know, but it was clearly done after the fact, and so even though their mouths were moving, I knew that that's not the dialogue that was coming out at that time,
Right.
but their delivery was just so, oh, wow, yeah, oh, how about that? I guess you must have finally locked that down. Like, why did he use a gun instead of jump like everybody else? Oh, I guess you must have finally locked that down. I'm like, my God, were you guys even awake when you made this movie?
Mm-hmm.
It was bizarre, because it was like, on one hand, there's all of this crazy action going on, like with the helicopters and the armored trucks I mean, this is a heist movie.
Right.
But then on the other hand, it was like none of them could really be bothered to actually care.
Well, yeah, it was a heist movie / Die Hard in a casino movie, right? Because you've got the heist gone wrong, and now you've got Peter Weller as the Mercer character. Not Mercer as in he's got the illness, but his character name was Mercer. But he is trying to escape the casino, right, and get his money, Die Hard style, right? He's got to pick his way through there. And one thing one of the things I did like about David Alan Greer's character is when he meets up with Peter Weller's, they had a little bit of a nice back and forth, and they're kind of like crawling through the casino being shot at, right? They're under fire, and he's calling for backup. And I guess they're asking him where Mercer is, right? Because Mercer's the one who's accused of, Peter Weller's character is accused of leading the heist. Just kind of guilt by association, or I don't even know, I wouldn't say guilt by association, it's wrongful.
I think, well, Dennis Hopper is just trying to get back at him,
right,
for being married to Tia Carrera, which
exactly.
He just, okay, well, I guess for people who don't, Peter Weller has spent the last 4 years in prison, and he's an ex-cop, and he spent the last 4 years in prison. When we first meet him, Tia Carrera, it's his last day. Tia Carrera is his wife, and she's coming to pick him up. And then they are apparently driving to Vegas so they can immediately get a divorce.
Yeah.
In the meantime, she has been hooked up with Dennis Hopper, who is the owner, Charles Atlas, the owner of the Top of the World Casino, which that actually gave me a chuckle. But she's been kind of hooked up with him. And so then they arrive there with this heist, and the heist is going on with Martin Cove and the band of the most idiot heist people I've ever seen
in my life. Not funny idiot. Martin Cove, and Martin Cove doing deadpan or doing goofy heist, I don't know if that was supposed to be like, because at that time there was no Steven Soderbergh Ocean 11s, but I don't know if that was supposed to be like a throwback to the old Frank Sinatra Ocean 11. I don't know what that was.
That's exactly what I was, it's funny you should say that, because I was trying to remember when Ocean's 11 came out, because I'm like, was this supposed to be like their response to Ocean's 11? And I'm like, I think this is before that, but I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was no, it is not that.
Yeah.
And he's no George Clooney. And it's just, they're such idiots. They're bungling, but not funny. Not like they're not comic relief. They're just annoying. And I wonder, and it's, from the conversations that they have, it's clear that they pull off heists all the time, because they're constantly arguing about, you keep killing everyone. Every time we rob a place, you kill everybody, and I want you to promise me. We have a 5-minute conversation where one guy is making another guy promise him that he won't kill anybody he doesn't absolutely have to.
Right.
I don't care. Okay, I don't know these characters. We don't know anything about them, and if this was supposed to be their way to, like, make us feel like we know them and they were one of the group because they're having these conversations, it didn't work.
Yeah.
But so they're doing all of this, but it's not interesting. It's not entertaining. it's just annoying, and I don't know how they ever pull anything off. I'm
Yeah.
surprised they can even pull off their pants
Right.
because these guys can't do anything right. But anyway, so there's this heist going on, and then um, Dennis Hopper finds out that Tia Carrere is married to Peter Weller, and
Right.
it kind of pisses him off. And so I think that's why he's just like, oh, he's the one,
Right.
he's the one who did the whole thing, and I'm like, what are you what?
Yeah, it just kind of comes out of nowhere suddenly. Oh, he didn't want his picture taken. He didn't want this. He didn't want that. Right, exactly. And you know, and
Yeah, and if you missed it, the reason was, if you missed it one of the 17,000 times he said it, the reason was that he just got out of prison. He's not allowed to
to go to
be
the casino.
in a gambling house.
Yeah.
He's not allowed to even be inside, so he can't win, and he actually won a jackpot while he was there. But he didn't want his picture taken, and he didn't want the check in his name.
No.
But it's all because legally he's not supposed to.
Yeah.
But
Which
anyway.
I don't really understand. I mean, I can understand like maybe like people on parole, like the parole board doesn't want they don't want ex-cons in casinos, but I would think casinos wouldn't care. I mean, the money still spends. You know, they want to get money from everybody. But maybe I don't know. Maybe it's just too suspicious or too bad an element to have in there. Or it's just too much of a risk, I guess, to have an ex-con. But it just seems like you know, hey, you know, if he was losing money, they wouldn't care. You know.
And I don't even really get the rule. I mean, I understand why a felon can't own a gun.
Right.
And then the whole felon can't vote thing, you pretty much threw out your privilege to do that. I get that, but I don't understand why they can't gamble.
Right.
I mean, what? I don't really see the connection, but
Yeah, and I don't.
I didn't even really know that, honestly.
I didn't either, and it just doesn't make any sense from a casino standpoint. Like, I can understand they don't want you to count cards, but if you're a felon, you know, you're probably more likely to be a degenerate gambler, I guess. Or maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe I shouldn't sweep, brush felons with a broad brush. But if you were impulsive enough to commit a crime that you got caught committing, there's a good chance that you would also impulsively bet on things that
Right, which would be in their favor.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. I mean, but I guess maybe the fact that you might have to have security deal with them or something might make it worse. I don't know. But yeah, that sounded odd to me. For me about this film, what I liked was I liked Weller. I got a kick out of him in this film, and I liked Hopper. I got a kick out of him, and I think it had been years since I'd seen this. I own it. I actually own it on DVD, but I hadn't seen it in a while. And I think I had forgotten just how much of the heist guys we have to deal with in the film. Because the heist guys really hurt this movie. I didn't like the way Peter Coyote's character was used, or the way it worked. He seemed really obnoxious and annoying, and it wasn't a lot of fun. Usually Peter Coyote, you kind of have fun with him.
I agree with that.
Yeah, but I think that's one thing about this film that did not age well. I think when I first saw it, I was like, oh, Peter Weller was great. Dennis Hopper was great. This is a really fun movie. Like you talked about, Peter Weller on top of the security car, driving around. All the other great action scenes. I mean, just blowing up the buffet line. Shooting up the floor of the casino. All kinds of great things like that you'd want from an action film of this type. But by the same token, there's just too much of those heist guys, and the heist guys don't work. They aren't that funny. The banter's not that good. Like you said, we don't understand how they could ever pull off a heist if they're this bad pulling off this heist. And so that part of the film, it was too much. There was too much of it. And of course the plot twist, right? Which I don't think I'm giving it away if we say that Dennis Hopper's in on the heist. That wasn't much of a plot twist either. We saw that coming, which is fine. I don't mind that. We kind of know that Dennis Hopper's character is a bad seed throughout the film. I just, for my money, I think, what do I want to say? For my money, I just think that it would have been better to do less of the heist guys. Maybe even trim 15 minutes off the film. More Weller, more Hopper with Joey Pants. They had a good interplay as well.
I was going to say, what I did notice toward the end of the film is it was actually when they were going up. They were going up to look for Tia Carrere, and one of the guys came out, and Dennis Hopper's like, where's my girl, or how's my girl? And he's like, I don't know. Dennis Hopper just shoots him out of nowhere. And Joey Pants is like, what? And he's like, well, he said he didn't know. How rude is that?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that is, whenever they were together on the screen, that was when I actually had fun
Mm-hmm.
with this movie, is when we got Dennis Hopper and Joey. And that was fun times,
Yeah.
I think. I don't know, I felt like it should have been more enjoyable
Mm-hmm.
than it was. And, but instead, I just found it kind of a slog.
It
Eh,
yeah, it did, in the sense that one of the things about this film is it had a lot of false endings, right? There's scenes where it looks like Peter Weller's going to escape the hotel, or escape the casino, right, and get out of this whole mess. And he just keeps getting dragged back in, right? There's that one scene where Tia Carrere and him, they escape in a car and they come back. Those kind of things, I think, make a movie feel like more of a slog also. Um, you almost feel like you get that feeling, when you go to a party, and or maybe you have people over at your house. That's even worse, right? And you're trying to get somebody out the door, and they just keep talking, and they keep bringing up something new they want to talk about, and you're getting you're almost helping them with their coat on and stuff like that. When you get those false endings, right? When it's like, oh, okay, this is great, Peter Weller's going to get out this way. No, he doesn't. He's got to come back, and we know based on the runtime that he is going to come back. But it feels like you're artificially extending the film that way, and it gives that sense that it's overstaying its welcome.
yes, I think that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Part of it.
Yeah.
But and it's just, I guess I have to say, this is going to sound bizarre, but it didn't surprise me that Dennis Hopper was in on the heist.
Mm-hmm.
That whole thing. But I didn't necessarily see it coming right then, at that point, that we find out that Tia Carrere was, as involved as she was.
Mm-hmm.
Or rather, did what she did.
Mm-hmm.
But then when we did actually find out, I didn't find it surprising.
Yes.
I don't know if that means, I wasn't like, what?
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like there was anything really surprising.
No.
And I guess that's another thing too, is for so much to be going on in this film and to have so many characters. There were so many characters,
Mm-hmm.
and they're all just doing random shit. That I didn't even really get why the inclusion of David Alan Grier.
Yeah.
By the time we got to the end, I'm not sure his being there even did anything.
Right, because he's the one guy that believed that Weller wasn't in on it. And so, again, I think his role is to pad the film, I guess we could say, or keep us from getting to the end sooner.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
And but then you get to the final resolution, and his part in it doesn't even matter.
Right.
Of course, neither does really Peter Coyote.
And nobody really does, right? Except for Hopper and
right.
Right.
Hopper and Weller and Tia Carrere, and that's it.
That's it. Yeah.
By the time you get to the end, because even Joey Pants, he didn't even matter. He was just a sidekick.
He was just a sidekick. Yeah. David Alan Grier had one of my favorite lines in the film when the two of them are crawling. Weller and him are crawling on the floor, and the cops. He's talking to the cops or for backup. And I guess they're asking him if he's seen Mercer, and he's like, "I'm with Mercer. He's clean." And it was like great, like David Alan Grier voice that just kind of reminded me of In Living Color, with him kind of like screaming out things with some of his characters.
Mm-hmm.
What was the one that he did? Do you remember the one where he played the what was it, like a record exec or something like that? And he would like he'd like have tapes and be like bam, or something like that. And he'd I can't. Do you remember? Do you know what I'm talking?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I do. I remember the BAM thing.
Yeah.
But no details. I haven't seen that show in forever.
I know.
That reminds me of this. God, that was what, 90s?
Yes. Yeah.
And I guess it was about 2010. This woman that I worked with, she's like, I've been watching this show on Netflix. It's so funny. It's called In Living Color. And have you ever seen it? I'm like, oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah.
She's like, it had Jim Carrey in it. I'm like, you don't say.
I know that's one thing Jim Carrey never mentions is that's where he got his start. Like he never really gives any respect to that show. But you're right. For the rest of us, we were like, when we saw him in Ace Ventura and all those other things, we're like, oh, there he was. He did that great Vanilla Ice sketch in the Fireman Bob.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me tell you something.
Let me tell you something. Yeah, that was that show. That was. I mean, I remember when I was kind of younger when it first started. I wasn't too young, but my mom thought it was a little bit yeah, racy. Yeah, a little too much for me at my age. I guess I would have been like, what was I, 6th grade, right? Because that was the whole Vanilla Ice thing, I guess. Because remember, that was like the big deal when they made fun of Vanilla Ice and they made fun of Milli Vanilli. That was those were the two big ones that like everybody was waiting for. When were they going to make fun of those two? And I remember when they made fun of Vanilla Ice, I think we all talked about it in school. But my mom was just like, no, you can't watch In Living Color. So I had a TV in my room with cable because my mom didn't want my dad watching the baseball games, so she put the cable box in my room. It was a black and white TV that my mom's best friend gave me to play the Atari on. That was the other thing, was that my mom didn't want me playing the Atari in the living room. And so I guess maybe by then it would have been Nintendo. We may have moved up to Nintendo by then. But anyway, I just remember my dad would come in and be like, hey, you watching Living Color? And I'd be like, yeah, okay. And he'd come in and be like, yeah, we're watching the game, and he'd watch Living Color with me. So
that's so funny.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, so I remember that, yeah.
I used to watch Benny Hill with my granddad.
Mm.
I don't know. Looking back on it now, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that might be inappropriate.
Yes.
But at the time, it was fun. Like I was supposed to be in bed, but like I could never sleep ever. I mean, I'm still like that today. I'm constantly not sleeping. So I would come crawl in. It would come on at like 11:30 at night. And I would come sneaking out of my bedroom, and he'd be watching Benny Hill, and I would like climb up in his lap.
Watch Benny
and
Hill.
he's just like, I guess he just figures this is what I'm watching. Either if you're gonna be out here with me, you're watching it too, whatever.
He was grandpa.
So, right? Yeah. He's like, I'm not changing my channel for shit.
No. Well, that's like the thing with my dad, because now he's grandpa with my nephew, my niece and nephew, and my dad will be watching those murder ID shows on, and it's like the kids are out there in the living room while he's watching one of those murder, and the guy's describing the way they killed, well, we came when we found the body, and it looked like, we assumed the way they did it was they took a wrench and smashed the first, and I'm just like, Dad, you're, kids here while you're, this man's describing beating someone to death with a wrench,
Well, I guess he figures if he's lived long enough. He's earned the right to watch whatever the hell he wants. That's,
Well, yes, and I never.
If some kid's gonna be in my way.
Yes, well, I never say anything. I just kind of look at it like that's what's going on here because same idea. Yeah, it's definitely like that. But yes, that was yes. But yeah, I think that's what it is. I think Grandpa, that's his mindset is, hey, you're up here this late, you pay the price. If you're up this late watching TV, you gotta.
Yeah, this is you gotta do it on my terms.
Mhm. Yeah, I remember when I was much younger, probably like 4 or 5, maybe even a little older. But my parents had one of those free HBO weekends. You remember when they would happen? Everybody would get the free HBO in the area, so everybody was watching HBO. Because what did you have that back then for cable? It was like 20 channels or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember I snuck out in the living room and Jaws 2 was on. When the guy comes up from the they find the dead guy. At the water park, and he's got the worms coming out of his mouth, and I was just scared to death. Like I don't think I snuck out for years after that happened. But the whole next day, of course, we go to my aunt's at her pool party, and everybody's talking about that great scene because everybody watched HBO the night before because everybody had it for free, and so I had to relive the whole thing again the next day at my aunt and uncle's barbecue. So yeah, those so much nicer now, when now that everybody has like hundreds of channels, and so you don't have to worry about seeing people with worms coming out of their mouths when you're 4. So I guess that gives you an idea of this film. This should be the way we rate films on here. Now, again, when I actually read my review of this that I wrote, when did I write that review? That was a while back, I think. May 12th, 2007. So a little over 8 years now since I wrote that review. I love this movie. I was telling people go out and buy it. And so it I gotta say it did not. And I did buy it. I did go out and buy it. I own it. Um, it there's something about it over time. I think I don't know. I think maybe and well, it's not like I was that much younger. 8 years is not that long. I think when you're when you're in your 30s. It's not as big a difference as like 18 and 26 or something. But I think, I think I watched it then and I was just like, oh, Weller, Hopper, uh, car chases, blowing things up. It's a great deal. And now watching it now, like I said, I don't think it held up as well. And I'm not gonna go through like George Lucas and fix the review. It's gonna be, it's gonna stand there as what I thought of it in 2007. But yeah, I definitely, I just watching it this time through, I was kind of like, because I was the one that recommended this for us for this week because, in my mind, I'm just like, this is one of the greats. This is a really great one. And I started watching it, and I think it was the song actually that did kind of. Just like you said, the song gave you an idea of like, boy, this is gonna be a rough one.
Yeah.
I think the song was just like, boy, I don't remember that song. I don't remember that. That's the first thing Jamie's gonna hear is that song. I don't remember that. I don't know what
It
happened.
was a terrible song.
It's a rough one. Yeah.
Afterward, I was like, turning to Brian, like, you want me to download that song for you? And he's just like, like it was not, and the score overall
Yeah.
was pretty bad.
Yeah.
I mean, there were times, I think it was during the Hoover Dam scene, where it sounded like someone's cat got loose on a piano, and it was just like it felt like I was listening to experimental jazz.
Yes.
And I like jazz. I do not like experimental jazz.
Yeah.
Like there's just, I guess I like a little bit of melody. I don't know what it is, but it's just like whenever it sounds like someone's toddler just in the pots and pans, it just like and I was like, who scored this movie? And were they paying attention when they scored the movie? Because it doesn't always seem to fit, and sometimes you get strains of that song coming through, like
Yes.
the music
Oh,
from that
yes.
song would bleed through into the score,
Mm-hmm.
and it just overall was not that great. So that didn't even really save it. I I kind of felt bad while I was watching. I felt bad that I didn't like it more because I was like, I'm pretty sure Matt likes this movie.
I did, yeah, but
I wanted to really like it, and
I
was like, well, this might be the first time we're just like, nope.
well, no, because like I said, I started watching it and I was just like, what did I see? And I did see parts of it, like the whole thing with Peter Weller riding on the top of the car. Part of the reason why I love that scene, is it just seems like it's completely out of nowhere, and again, it really does nothing to forward our plot at all, right? Because all he does is just ends up back at the casino, right? He's
Yeah.
riding around on top of this thing. He gets this little adventure. They're shooting at him. He's hanging off it. It's almost like one of those deals where it's like, we joke about in movies where the guy gets set on fire that it's like, hey, we've got the flaming stuntman, and God damn it, we're gonna use him. I felt like there was this film definitely the budget was all in the stunts and the name actors. The script I think was secondary. The editing was secondary. I think the editing was just meant to get the film done. But there were a lot of aspects of the script that didn't seem to make any sense. Tia Carrere's character, she seemed to just like fit every damsel in distress cliche, and so that was one thing that I noticed about it, was that she, like, they did she was getting dragged around by guys. She was, at one point she gets tied up. She's just, it's like every time she gets back with Weller, she gets captured again. She needs to be rescued all the time. So that's something that happens a lot. Yeah, I don't know. This didn't. How do I want to say? It didn't hold up like I was expecting it to. So yeah, I started watching and I was like, boy, I thought I had a sure winner here, and over time I guess it just didn't quite make it,
Yeah, and that's a sad thing. And I'm wondering if maybe if I'd watched it, back then, if I would feel differently. Like, I don't know. Like maybe if maybe it just didn't hold up. Maybe I've seen too much stuff, but too many similar things that I feel were done better with more clever
Mm-hmm.
scripts, more interesting scripts more. I mean, the whole time I'm just like, God, what kind of blackmail does this guy have that all these people are in his movie? Or, or do they owe him a favor? Is he like cousins to all of these people? Like, why would you?
Yeah.
How did he get this cast? I guess is what I'm.
I was gonna
Because
say.
nobody there is a real A-lister,
Right.
of course. But there are people that you see in more interesting things. But
Mm-hmm. Now, one of the things I noticed about the film was that every time a new character came on screen, they almost kind of got this whole like presentation thing. Like it's almost like they started talking with their back to us, and then the camera kind of gave them a like I really noticed it with Kerry Tagawa because he comes in as a SWAT guy, and it's like vroom, there he is, and he gets his big moment on screen. So I wonder if that was part of it too. I don't know if this is supposed to be like a showcase for all of these actors.
da-da-da!
Yes. So I don't know. Yeah, there was a lot going on here that it I think it seems like the thinking was, hey, we got all these people. I mean, maybe too, like maybe you get all these people right in the film. You get this huge budget for the action for all of that, and you then realize when it's too late that the script doesn't work, right? That the funny parts that you were doing with Martin Cove and all those guys didn't work as well as you wanted to, and who knows, maybe some of the better scenes with Peter Weller and all them, maybe they didn't take, or maybe the shots didn't go, and so then they had to put more of these bad guys in. They couldn't edit as much of them out, but I mean, and I don't know too if maybe like Martin Cove's agent demanded he be in enough scenes, so when these scenes didn't work, they had to keep them. Something in the translation. This I think they had.
What did Martin Cove's agent really demand? I mean, by the time this movie came along, it's been a lot of years since Split the Leg.
Yes.
I mean, obviously he's done other things, but he's never been like a heavy hitter. So, like what are you demand? Like, you demand what?
Yes. I know.
You demand that I supersize the McDonald's we're gonna buy you from for lunch? Okay, that I'll go with. But other than that, you demand nothing.
Yeah, so then we can't really figure out why, other than the fact that they needed to get a certain amount of film in, that they kept these horrible scenes. I mean,
I think it was just. What was the final runtime on this?
was it a full? It was over an hour and a half. I thought it might have been 100 though. I think it may have hit the 100 mark.
Okay, ooh, that's long for you.
Yeah, no, I thought it was 90, but it could have been a little
longer. There's a
longer.
lot of stuff that was in there. It just felt like they were just like, well, we really need to cut that for to make it interesting. Oh no, we can't cut that. We need We need that minute. We got to keep it. We need them. We need him aimlessly talking to Kirk Cameron's girlfriend from Growing Pains.
Yes.
That was her big moment.
She was dubbed. Man, was she ADR'd. Oh, man.
Yes.
Comes in there. Hey, I want, guess.
And that accent.
Oh, my God. Losing my job.
I'm not supposed to be playing a mean girl. Like, oh, my goodness, where'd you come from?
Yeah. Oh, that hurt. Yeah, that was like, whew.
And what is it? She actually was Kirk Cameron instrumental in getting her kicked off of
Yes.
Growing Pains?
Yes, she had a Playboy spread.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that interfered with his whole Christian
The whole religious thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
That's right.
So that was, and that, I think it kind of torpedoed her career. I don't know.
Oh, imagine that.
Yeah.
Imagine Kirk Cameron being responsible for torpedoing your career.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know for sure, but yeah.
Well, she did this.
Right. I know.
I mean, and the role that she played in this was, random casino girl.
Mm-hmm. With bad accent.
With a bad accent.
Yeah. So yeah. So I know this movie. I mean, it had Larry Manetti from Magnum PI. What was his character name in Magnum PI? Do you remember? There was TC, then the other guy in Magnum. I cannot believe I'm drawing a blank. My friends would be so mad that I can't figure out Magnum's other friend.
I did watch that show, but I was never like really religious about it.
Yeah.
Which was kind of blasphemy.
Rick. Brian got it. Rick.
Oh, good job. Eddie.
Yeah,
which was kind of blasphemous for me too when I was growing up and among my friends to not be crazy about Magnum PI. I watched it here and there, but I was never like, oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah, that was always one thing I always liked about Magnum. I mean, first the Selleck mustache. I mean, the show was a spin-off of Rockford Files, which
Now Rockford Files, I love.
that was a great. Did you ever see the episodes where Tom Selleck's character, where Magnum was in uh, Rockford
Yeah,
Files?
yeah.
Yeah, those were great. Those were a great time.
I actually had the Rockford Files, where in the beginning of the show,
Mhm.
where the phone rings,
Yes.
and that was my ringtone for
Was
a long
it?
time.
Oh, that's
yeah,
awesome.
I love that show, and that was probably because my mom had a thing for James Garner, and she loved the show, so that got me into it. But yeah, that's actually one that I was talking not too long ago that I would like to have on DVD because I haven't seen it in a long time.
No, me neither. I know my friends and I used to watch. Remember when it was on A&E in the afternoons? I think when A&E first started as a channel, it was like they would have Rockford Files and Quincy and Biography. I think were there.
Quincy.
Yes. Yeah. So I think that the order was like Quincy or Rockford Files, Quincy, and then maybe something else, and then Biography at
I wanted
night.
to be Quincy when I was growing
Oh,
up.
Quincy was great. That show had one of the best theme songs ever. Bow, ba-da-da, bow, bow, ba-da-da-da-da. That's Quincy, right? Yeah. Oh man, my mom used to always watch that, so I'd always come out there and be like, man, I'd be like, oh my God, it's it's Felix Unger, or no, Oscar Madison.
Yeah, yeah.
At that time, I knew the names perfectly. I'd always get it right. But yeah, I mean, that was a great one. Yeah, but yeah, so I remember they would have the back-to-backs, and I think Rockford was first. But we used to go into school and talk about them. Like, oh, did you catch that episode? Oh, that was the best one. It was with Isaac Hayes in it or whoever. But then we saw Magnum in them because we'd all grown up watching Magnum, and we kind of came to Rockford a little later, and we're just like, oh my God, Magnum was a spin-off of Rockford Files. That's crazy, It didn't.
Do you recall Jack Klugman having a brief stint in a sitcom with John Stamos called You Again?
I don't know. When was
Remember
that? What was that,
God,
after
it
Full
was
House?
in the 80s.
Oh.
No, it
Oh,
was
before.
pre-Full House. And it was, I think it lasted like a minute. It was something like John Stamos was Jack Klugman's son, and he was coming home, like coming back home, like live at home again. And they had, their whole goofy relationship, their, love-hate relationship thing. It didn't last very long at all.
What is the deal with that? We just can't seem to pull off the whole son moves home or father moves home deal. It just But everybody wants to do it. Everybody's got to move home. You got the whole pairing the old and young, but old enough to still be an adult thing. Yeah, But
yeah, it's like, oh, I'm a failure. I'm moving.
Yeah.
I'm a failure and a disappointment. I want my old room back.
Yeah, and hilarity ensues. Oh man, I'm glad Brian saved us on Rick there. Rick from Magnum PI. I would never have.
Well, he's good for something.
Yeah, that's cut it out. He's our tech support on. Though he's sick tonight. So that's okay. Well, we'll lay off him there. But yeah, I remember I saw Rick in this too, and that was like another one. Like, oh man, Rick from Magnum is in here.
See, that's what I'm saying. There are people coming out of the woodwork in this movie, and I don't understand why.
Yeah,
I really don't.
For fans of The Sopranos, the guy who played Beansy is the valet guy, the one who won't give him his car back.
Oh yeah, no ticket, no wheels.
No ticket, no
Which
wheels.
of course gives us our last guffaw at the end of the movie when they realize that the stash is in the trunk of the car that they can't get because they got no ticket.
They got no ticket.
That reminds me of Indiana Jones. He throws him out. No ticket.
No ticket.
Shoot, I had something to say, and it probably wasn't important.
Now, how does that work in real life? Do you have to like, I mean, do you have to just have them get the registration out of the car if you don't have the ticket, and show them?
I guess you
my
would
match.
probably have to prove ownership somehow.
Yeah.
But see, he knows damn well it was his car.
Right.
I'm like, don't hassle me. You're the one who took it to me, and we've had conversations.
Exactly. I'm going to tip you if you'd like. Yeah.
Right.
Which I think
I got a bunch of tips in the back of the trunk of the car right here.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, I guess this movie, man, I I gotta say, I thought we were, I guess when it comes to movies, sometimes you gotta revisit them a little more often. Yet I'm trying to remember the last time I had watched American Ninja 2, and that one did hold up.
Yeah, that one I love.
Yeah, but this one, it I think I just in my head somehow maybe maybe it was I was young enough at that time. I don't think I was quite young enough at that time to be watching the movie fueled off Doritos and Mountain Dew like I would have in my high school days or early college days. Which in that case, but and I think I saw it a couple times for the blog. Otherwise, I'd say yeah, maybe I was hammered, just didn't know what I was watching, and I was just like Weller, yeah, RoboCop, and that was enough. And then watching it now, but it definitely I know we were coming into it, and there was that mindset of like like you said, you were like, because I think I really sold it last week. I was like, oh, this movie's great, you're gonna love it, and I started watching it, and I was like, boy, this is not a you're going to love it kind of movie. I kind of feel bad.
Well, I mean, to be honest and to be fair to you, you didn't have to sell it really hard, because once you just told me who was in it,
Yeah.
I was like, sold.
Yeah.
I'm down. I want to watch that.
Yeah.
And that is a movie I want to watch. And then I'm watching it going, well, I don't want to watch this movie.
Yeah, and it's not really a bait and switch thing either. Like, these people are not on camera for like 5 minutes and gone. Everybody has a pretty sizable role in the film. I mean, Weller's there enough, Carrere, Hopper, Joey Pants, Martin Cove. I mean, everybody's there a good amount. David Alan Grier even is there enough. Unless you were a fan of the ex-girlfriend from Growing Pains or Larry Manetti, who both aren't in it that much. But other than them, everybody's there enough. It's not really a bait and switch in that sense. It's just the script, it just doesn't deliver for whatever reason, whether it's the editing of the film, which it does seem like this film, based on the whole ADR thing you were talking about, it does seem like there was a lot of work done on this film after the fact. So who knows what happened there? I mean, it may have just been lazily shot.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't feel like there was a lot of energy.
Yeah.
From anyone, even though that seems like a contradiction when I say that at one point Peter Weller's hanging off of a helicopter.
Right.
But still, there just didn't seem to be a lot of energy or oomph behind it, and everyone just seemed to be walking on and throwing their lines and like, just here you go. Well, and it was just, and some of it was just so uninspired. Like, there's a scene where the heist guys are trying to get through the hotel,
right.
And they've changed into maintenance uniforms.
Yeah.
And they come across this cop, and he's...
Oh, did I lose Jamie? Oh, let's see what happens here.
No, that was on my end. Baby cat stepped on the mute button.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought I was getting ready for the disconnect sound. Oh, okay.
And they're like, we're taking care of the laundry. And Martin Cove gives this whole explanation
Right.
as to why 4 of them are doing the laundry. And, of course, the cop's like, all right, get out of here. And I'm like, really?
Yeah.
That works?
Yeah.
And then he goes 6 feet down the hall and sees where they changed all their clothes. And he's like, ah, damn it. I'm like, come on.
Yeah. Well, because I think that's supposed to be like bad Three Stooges kind of thing, right? The Three Stooges, if a cop was there, they'd be like, no, see, he's going to be doing starch, and this guy's doing the folding, and he's doing the press.
But, like, Stooges are funny.
I know, of course.
I think it was the delivery. I mean,
Yes.
I just don't think Martin Cove has the...
No.
He couldn't pull it off.
No.
Uh,
Martin Cove's humor is sweep the leg.
Right. And, like, I love, like, Laurel and Hardy, and Abbott and Costello. I love Abbott and Costello. And that's the kind of stuff, like, that's the kind of thing that you could see in an Abbott and Costello film, and it would be really funny.
Yeah.
Just their whole taking 10 minutes to do one gag where they're fooling a cop, but it's just hilarious because they're back and forth with the way they play off each other. It's just funny. And these guys were not funny, and I just, like, it was groan-worthy.
Yeah.
Every single time. Like, why are you taking me away from Dennis Hopper? Because that's really the only time I was thoroughly enjoying myself was when Dennis Hopper was on the screen.
Yeah, I agree.
And even then, okay, I wouldn't even say thoroughly. The only time I enjoyed myself really was when Dennis Hopper was on the screen. And he just has a presence. Even when he's not trying hard,
Right.
he's still he still has a presence. And I still don't feel like he tried hard here, but
No.
he just has sort of a natural presence that he could be asleep and still be somewhat interesting, I think.
Yeah, this role though, he got the point of this role very easily, and I thought that really helped him. I mean, I liked Weller's character too. He was a guy I could kind of root for. And I'm a Weller fan. I'm kind of, I love Peter Weller. So I think that also gave the film a little bit more oomph for me in that respect. But I think in my head somehow I must have just, um, magically erased the level of the bumbling heist guys. I'd kind of erased the level that they were in the film, um, and had elevated the amount of Weller and Hopper that we got, and somehow that made it this sort of magical combination of great acting and great film and great everything. And then when I watched it, I was like, boy, I seem to be seeing a lot of these heist guys. Like, I mean, maybe this is a director's cut. Maybe the director originally wanted to. Maybe that's what I'm seeing on Netflix. That extra 8 minutes. Yes, the original one is actually only 89 minutes long. This is an extra 9 minute with the Martin Cove blackmail cut. Get him more on the screen. So I guess with this film, if you went to my blog and saw the review that I gave there, you're gonna think this thing's awesome. But now I'm here 8 years later, a little over 8 years later, doing the podcast with Jamie and saying, yeah, it's interesting, it's intriguing to see all of these names in here, but it doesn't quite deliver like it should have, and I don't know what. I guess again, the guy 8 years ago may have been on something, or who knows what he was thinking back then, but this guy right now doesn't quite agree with him. So, and what do you think, Jamie, as far as an overall recommendation? Oh, do we get another cat mute button situation?
Damn, baby
Oh.
cat. Gotta stop doing that.
I think I know who the cat is Martin Cove's agent.
The other night I was recording a show, and it was right in the middle of the worst part of my cold, and at one point I muted myself while other people were talking so I could cough my head off.
Mm-hmm.
Baby cat walks across and unmutes me.
Mm.
So they're like, "Oh my God, what's happening?" And I'm like,
yeah, I'm dying.
But yeah, she's got great timing. So, what? Oh, I was saying I can't, and it's kind of painful for me because I do like the people that are in the movie, typically, and I enjoy heist movies, and action films, and I just, yeah, to me this just
didn't quite make it.
Didn't really make it, and I have to be honest here. There were scenes where I actually fast forwarded on my.
Were there heist guys? Heist guy scenes?
Yeah, like anytime, because there was a lot of times when nothing was happening. They were just running around, but there was no dialogue.
Yeah.
So like on Netflix, you can see scene by scene, like shot by shot. And so I would just speed through their running around scenes until I got to like the next scene or some dialogue, or I would see Peter Weller pop on screen. I'm like, oh, this is going to be important, or something. So yeah, I didn't even really. There was too much of them. I couldn't take them.
Well, let's hope maybe there is a director's cut coming out soon that has less of the heist guys. A nice 89-minute package.
17 minutes long.
17 minutes long. Right, exactly. Well, why don't we take a look at what we've got going on? Again, I'm back to a whole lot of nothing. So I'm still staring at those legendary pictures right on my thing here. But so I don't know. Who knows when I'm going to start. I would like to start writing blog posts again, because we have seen some really good ones recently that need reviews on the blog as well. Wolf Cop is one. I don't know about the November Man, but it would be nice to even write something up about that one.
Hey, it was nice that Eric gave that show a listen, and I'm glad that he found out that he was not the only one who saw in it what we saw, or didn't see in it what we didn't see. And also, when I posted about the show tonight that we were going to be talking about Top of the World, he commented, he's like, "Oh, is that the the Peter Weller Dennis Hopper flick from the 90s, a.k.a. Cold Cash.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, that'd be the one.
He had the AKA. I like that.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if that means he really likes it. If so,
Well,
sorry, Eric.
well, Eric, if you did really like it, maybe you need another viewing because I also really liked it when I first saw it, and it now having seen it again tonight, I was just like, wow, I kind of feel bad. I I need to go back and watch some of these again before I recommend them for our show.
When I confess to fast forwarding through some of the running around parts, Brian wrote in on the chat room. Thank God she did.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
At one point I was like, "You want me to fast forward?" And he's like, "Yes."
Of course, Brian. Yes, he. Poor Brian.
And then I was like, "Oh, wait a minute. I think I went too far." And he's like, "Don't go back. What are you doing? Don't go back."
Yeah.
Like, I have to.
Oh, we're gonna have to give Brian another Reb Brown film or something just to help him out.
Let's start.
Yeah.
He suffers for my art.
He does. He's poor Brian. He does. We put him through. He said yes, please. Yes, another Reb Brown film. Nice.
By the way, Howling 2 is going to be coming out on DVD. I mean, on Blu-ray.
Ooh.
From Scream Factory, I think, and I'm excited about that one because I do love Reb Brown in that.
Yes, and that is a podcast that we did do, you and I think, was that the one when we, I think I came back from getting married, and you thought we were doing Shooter, and I thought we were doing something else. I can't remember what it was. Maybe it was Erased. And so we just decided to split the difference and go with Howling 2 because we'd both seen that before.
Yeah, and that was interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, okay. I think that might be the one that we really disagreed on, I think, out of all of them that we've watched here. Because I think you were really, I was like, that's my, the greatest werewolf film ever made, for me, Howling 2. And you're a little bit more tepid in your praise.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's strong.
Right.
There are things about it that I thoroughly enjoy. I mean, I do think it's a fun movie, but yeah, then there's just some ridiculousness all up in there.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm sorry I interrupted you. You were saying about your what?
Oh no! I was just saying I need to get back to writing posts because we've been watching some good ones that need reviews. I think that need written reviews to accompany. Just because it's nice to kind of give them that extra oomph. Especially Wolf Cop is one that I think could use a good written review to go with our blog post to kind of boost it a little more. That's a film that really I thought was a really inspired one. That's probably one of the best as far as new movies. Because we watched a lot of older ones that we really enjoyed, but for new movies, that might be one of the best of the new films we've seen.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
It's everything it says it is.
Right.
Wolf and a cop. There
Yep.
you go.
And he was there. Yeah.
As for me, I am right smack in the middle of recording a Texas what am I talking about? A Nightmare on Elm Street retrospective for the Skeleton Crew, which we will be releasing one episode a week for 8 weeks solid, which is pretty good. Because we had been going to once a month, so this one for this retrospective, it's going to be like bam, 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 bam.
Mm-hmm.
The latest to Devour the podcast has come out, but I'm not on that episode. I missed that episode, but that's the one where they talk about the Friday the 13th remake from 2009. And I'm not there, but I still encourage a listen because Duncan McLeish, our Scottish friend from the podcast Under the Stairs, sat in on there, and he's always a hoot. So I recommend people still give that a listen. And of course, there's evil episodes out there that we're going to be, the next episode we're going to be recording is, I think, A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night is the movie that we're covering, and then we're going to be doing the next 4 episodes, or the final 4 episodes of Nightmares and Dreamscapes, the series that was based on Stephen King stories. The TV series that was based on Stephen King stories.
Nice. And Duncan, I'm familiar with. He did not the most recent Liken It, but the one before that. I remember him being on there.
He
Yeah.
did Brotherhood of the Wolf.
That's right. Yeah.
Me.
Yeah. Spoke a little French in there as well.
That's right.
Yes. Yeah. So he's great. And now that Nightmare on Elm Street one, I am waiting for part 2 to come out for that. See if you mentioned the Lamal poster.
I did.
Did you see it? Yes.
I did, and I mentioned that, and I even mentioned you.
Did you?
Matt
Nice.
wants me to mention to give a shout out for this poster. I didn't realize who that was,
Mhm.
and I don't know if he'll leave this in as been a part in or not, because Alex was like, "Who is Lamal?" And I was like, I don't know, it means nothing to me. But then Dave, one of our other co-hosts, started playing. Like he pulled up a Never-Ending Story
Right. Too Shy.
song and started playing that, and he's like, "Jamie, you know what this is?" And I was like,
Yes.
"Oh my God, it's Never-Ending
Yes.
Story."
Well, before that he was in Kajagoogoo before the manager convinced the band to fire him after
is
Too
that
Shy.
where- okay.
Too Shy. Yes.
Too
yeah.
Shy.
Yeah. Hush, hush.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So I am familiar. I just didn't know it.
Yep.
Um.
Yes.
So there's that. But yes, I did give a shout out to that,
Perfect.
just for you.
Nice, nice. Well, again, I've got, as far as the podcast, nothing much is going on. I mean, the blog, not much going on there. And then, of course, the KNS fanfic. This next week here, the guys are going to get time warped into an episode of RuPaul's Drag Show. So that should be fun. That should be interesting.
Where they will be performing to Lamal.
That's right, exactly. All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening to this week's episode, and we'll hope to see you all back here next week. Goodbye, everyone.
Join us again. Bye.
Bye.
Hear that? That's the sound of a patient whose health data is protected from a cyber attack. And that's the sound of a financial system that's digitally secured from bad actors. Right now, there's an invisible war being fought on a digital battlefield that impacts what we do every day. That's why at Peraton, we do the can't be done to help protect the vital systems we rely on. Because if we don't, the alternative is unimaginable. Peraton.